Hello everybody, John here from the Sports Department going over the two-game LPL slate tonight, and it is a pretty good one. I'm in pretty good spirits this morning. It's the Royal Rumble this morning. I haven't watched WWE seriously in like 15 years, but every time there's a Royal Rumble, I always make sure to download it the next day, give it a watch. It's always a lot of fun, so I'm in a good mood this morning waiting to watch the Royal Rumble here. Going into this two-game slate, and I think this is a pretty good one as far as two-game slates go. The ownership should be more split than usual. We start off with Rare Atom plus 215. They're 2-3 on the season, 1-2 against winning teams. Up against WE minus 305, 5-1 on the season, 3-1 against winning teams. Something worth noting: Yimeng coming into the mid lane for Team WE. I do not know a lot about Yimeng, to be honest with you, but I do know that WE is looking for the mid lane that's going to carry them for the rest of the season, because the rest of this team is top shelf, and they're just looking for somebody who can fill in that mid lane role. They felt like after their last matchup that maybe they should look somewhere other than Shanks. Not that Shanks has been bad, but go look somewhere else, see what you've got in Yimeng here. I think that's a good decision. I like that for Team WE, but it throws a little uncertainty on them as well. How are they going to perform with a backup mid laner playing against Rare Atom? They have had the tougher schedule between them and Rare Atom. They've played against more winning teams. They have one extra game, so I guess it's kind of close, but the stats should be at least reasonably comparable. And we've got a 1793 to 1896. 1896 just a great goal per minute number for WE. Plus 210 to plus 7. The First Blood, First Turret numbers for WE have stayed low this season, and honestly, it's been weird, but this has been kind of a weird trend for some of these LPL teams. Some of the better LPL teams, not with great goal difference of 15 and First Blood, First Turret stats. Rare Atom with First Blood and First Turret advantages in both spots. WE does have a 9% Dragon advantage, and at 15 minutes, these teams are pretty even, 269 to 304. So it's going to kind of come down to who you think has better mid and late game execution. For me, that's WE, I think. I definitely lean to the WE side of this matchup. Rare Atom has not impressed me too much so far this season. If they do win, you're looking at a pretty solid 19s kill per win for WE here, and their kill participation is usually pretty solid. So I'm expecting to see WE a pretty decent scorer in this matchup if they win. We'll have to see how they compare to this other matchup, though, because this other matchup is also one where we might be seeing some pretty sizable numbers. On the Rare Atom side, if they win, you're really only looking right around 16. So I think Rare Atom probably is going to be your short stack if you're playing Rare Atom today. I generally like when I can play an underdog as my 4 stack, and you can always take a gamble on something like that in a 4-game slate like this. But just by the numbers, it looks like Rare Atom's probably going to end up being your short stack if you're playing them. Second matchup of the day, Victory 5. They're plus 300, 3-3 on the season, 1-2 against winning teams. EDG is minus 475, 5-0 on the season, 1-0 against winning teams. EDG with a much easier schedule than pretty much anybody else. They've only played one winning team in their 5 matches, but that one winning team was WE, who's undefeated other than them. So you have to give them the proper respect where it's due. Victory 5 has played about 50% winning teams, but the stats are going to lean pretty heavy EDG. 1859 to 1807, plus 161 to minus 8. Same First Blood, but the First Turret advantage goes to Victory 5, but Dragon's big time towards EDG, almost 20%. At 15 minutes, once again, though, only plus 92, plus 628. So EDG only plus 92 at 15 minutes. Just shows you that right now, teams that are good in that mid-game who are really taking advantage and picking up wins. It's not necessarily about the early game beatdowns. Kill per win and death per loss. Victory 5, a big kill per win, death per loss team. EDG, though, a little bit on the lighter side. We lean DPL, so 15.8 to 19.5. The 19.5 comes into play a little heavier, but you're still looking, it looks to me like lower scoring from this matchup. We're going to have to see when we get to the projections. This one feels a little lower scoring to me than the WE-RA match. For ownership, I think that especially with WE playing a backup mid laner, I think that's going to take some of their ownership away. They're also the smaller moneyline favorite, so my guess is you're going to see EDG as the highest owned team, then WE, Rare Atom, and Victory 5 probably as the smallest owned team on the slate. This is a slate where I think all 4 teams are playable. If you wanted to go and play double dogs in the big GPPs, I wouldn't have any issue with that. That seems completely reasonable to me. but both EDG and WE are still definitely your cash teams. And then if you want to play midfield GPP, take a shot at Rare Atom, take a shot at Victory 5. This is a slate where you can really play all these teams in various combinations depending on the field size of the tournament that you're in, because there's nobody here who's theoretically drawing dead. Everybody's pretty live to win their matchup, I think. Looking at the potential scoring, I'm kind of interested between the favorites. Let's assume that we were going for a cash lineup here. It looks like Flandre in the top lane, Beishang, Yimeng, Zhumeng, and Missing. So the only spot where EDG is getting the advantage for cash is in the top lane. The other 4 spots all lean WE. That makes sense to me for this matchup. I think WE is in a really good spot for scoring here against Rare Atom. Even though Rare Atom has not been that very bloody when they've won, their losses have been fairly bloody, and WE is just a really high KP team as well. So if we optimize, it's going to give us Yimeng captain. Yimeng captain a little on the sketchy side, and mid laners have not done great so far this season. I think, let me see what the numbers spit out here. It's only about a 2-point difference between Yimeng and Beishang. I might play this thing a little safer for cash and go with a Beishang captain instead of a Yimeng captain. It could end up you might end up paying for it, but I think there's enough of the time that either Yimeng gets subbed out or Beishang just outscores him that it makes sense to me to go with the Beishang captain instead. So that's kind of the value of watching the videos. I do think it's probably more valuable to go with the Beishang captain, even though the Yimeng is listed as outscoring. Scout versus GG is a solid 4.5 point difference, but I still think that's where I would go personally. If you see me in the cash games today, feel free to pick up a cash game from me. I'm going to be playing the Beishang captain, I think, as opposed to the Yimeng captain. Just feels a little bit on the safer side to me. So if you can fit these guys with mid captains or jungle captains, it makes sense to me. In the GPPs, maybe you throw some Flandre and Breathe captains in there. These are 2 guys that are definitely capable of a really big series. So I may try out some of that in the big field GPPs. But that's pretty much all you can do with those today. I assume if you play any dogs, you're looking at 80 carry captains. Oh, can't even get to 90% or 99%, so yeah, you're looking at a Zhumeng captain there, and then if you play Rare Atom and EDG, I'm going to assume it's the same thing. It is. Unfortunately, I think especially for EDG, if you're playing them, I think you kind of have to play 80 carry captain where you can. Viper has just been a crazy scorer, and EDG 80 carries in general tend to be really crazy scorers. It's pretty tough to walk away from that, I think. So probably just have to go 80 carry captain, and it's probably the same thing with any Team WE combination, since Zhumeng historically is just an insane fantasy scorer versus some of the other members of his team. So nothing too exciting to talk about on that front today. I think pretty much that's the story of the day. The only real thing that can be kind of interesting is how to build lineups between EDG and WE if you're trying to play favorites lineups in GPPs, but I think then you just kind of go with the jungle captains. You can go with the top captains if you wanted to take a shot at that, but nothing else too interesting on this slate. Cash games I think are going to be better on this slate for me than a lot of other stuff. I'll definitely have a couple GPP lineups in there, but I think I'm going to lean more towards cash on this one. So that'll be all for me, guys. There is a big $20 GPP tonight, so take your shots if you need to. There's going to be some crazy stuff going on in there for sure. I'm sure I'll have some lineups in there. So I will talk to you guys tomorrow. Feel free to hit me up in the Discord or on Twitter. If you want to try something like a game stack on a slate like this for a big GPP like that $20, I think that's reasonable. If you wanted to try something like one-off team slot, I always think one-off team slot is playable. So that's what I'm going to go with tonight. I'm going to go with some mixtures of those kinds of things in the GPPs, and then I'm mostly going to go cash on this slate, I think. So that'll be all for me, guys. I'll clarify a little bit. The main reason I'm going to go cash is that I think this is a slate where people are likely to make mistakes in cash. You could see some underdogs in cash at some of the lower stakes, especially. When you get into the higher stakes, you're mostly going to see people playing the bigger favorite as their 4-stack. So EDG will probably end up being most people's 4-stack, where I think WE is likely to score better, so I can get a little bit of an advantage by playing the 4 WE versus the 4 EDG. And as long as WE wins the prescribed percent of the time, if they really are a minus 305, and they're going to outscore on average when they win, then it makes more sense to be on the WE side. So that's what I'll go with on this one. So that's all for me today, guys. I will be back tomorrow. We'll talk about a 4-game slate tomorrow, I believe. But until then, let's get some money tonight. Good luck in the big $20. They've made it bigger than it has been, so I want to see somebody win it tonight. I'll talk to you guys later, and have a good one.